All right. Hey, guys, this is Terry Hale, Wealth by Design. I'm super excited to do this new format. It's a super cool format. We're going to be talking just about political views, uncertain economy, how things are happening, and how people are thinking about it. So I have a very special guest, somebody that's extended family to me. I've known this guy for a while, and he definitely is hard right, Mr. Joe Porter. Joe, are you with me?
I am. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So, like I said, man, it's just really simple political views. I'm not a heavy guy into politics, but I just want to know, viewpoints from people that are dear to me. So I'm obviously having you on, and then I'm going to have another part two that's going to be hard left, and it's going to be someone else that's in a different country, which is great because we obviously are all, under a different algorithm, and I'm a true believer of that. Because I know that I'm looking and seeing things that other people are looking and seeing, and some people aren't seeing those things, which is crazy. So it's like, it's very controlling, and it's kind of scary. We're not all hearing the same thing. So let's just get to it. I'm going to ask a few questions, and I know you're hard right. I actually have a present for you. I'm going to send this to you in the mail for you being on my show. And this is the Trump Make America Great.
Yeah. All right. I like it.
Right?
Thank you.
Bag that up and
I'll do it.
Send this to you. Very cool. So with that said, the economy, right? Let me get your viewpoint on this, right? So, and this is just what I'm hearing. I don't know what you're hearing, but I know that Biden wants globalization and Trump wants China out. What's your viewpoint in regards to the economy and what's yet to come?
I don't think that Trump so much wants China out, other than he just wants China to come to the table, and actually be fair in a trade deal. The trade deals that China currently has with the United States is an armistice. Okay, that's originally what we had, and an armistice is something that you negotiate in order to avoid a war. All right, so they never really came to the table as far as trade is concerned. They've actually been getting a lot of special treatment, and they've been flooding the market with, they flooded the market with steel for a while there. They were doing a lot of, underhand type of stuff in order to keep us down and keep their economy up. And it really wasn't fair. And all Donald Trump was really trying to do is bring them to the table and make it more fair. As far as Joe Biden and globalization, look, man, I'm not a fan of globalism. Okay. I think globalism hurts the working class, and it does nothing but help the elite class. Okay, so if you're an elitist, if you're an international banker, it really doesn't matter where you live, right? I mean, you can work remotely from anywhere. Hey, you might spend the night in Paris, or you spend a week in Germany, or see what I'm saying? I mean, those type of people, it doesn't matter to them. So they would prefer globalization, and I can see that. But for a regular working class Joe, let's say a guy that's a concrete finisher in the union, right? Okay, that's a huge deal for him. You know what I mean? So if we have stronger policies that are more pro-American, pro-worker, like Donald Trump has been implementing, obviously you're seeing the results of that. We have a stronger economy. We have wage growth. We have record unemployment numbers prior to the pandemic. Black unemployment through the roof, Hispanic unemployment through the roof. I mean, things have been great, man. In my experience, from what I in the industry that I work in, it's been nothing but good, and I can tell you prior to that, it was not so good. I mean, maybe the last couple of years of the Obama administration, things started to kind of pick up, but you noticed right when Donald Trump got in there, what did he do? He cut some regulation. He got some pro-business ideas going, and look at where we're at now. I mean, this reminds me of back in, the late 90s, early 2000s, when things were booming really well, pre-pandemic.
Joe, I can't lie, man. I mean, around here, just recent with the tail end of the election, things definitely start to get rocky, and people are starting to, hold their money, their chips close to their chest. They don't want to spend. They want to see what's going to happen. They want to see where the dust settles, So I totally get that. And I do have to say that things were really good over the last several years. And, even my personal estate property out here in Malibu, it close to doubled in value. And so that does tell something, it does tell me Let me ask you this. Let's change topic because I totally get that, and I'm hoping everything gets back on track and everybody makes lots of money because that's what definitely carries us through. And it's our God-given right to live life in abundance. So we need to be able to do that. What about Biden care? You know, the plan to protect and to build on Obamacare. What's your thought on that?
Honestly, man, I think the ACA is a complete and total disaster. Not only were they forcing individuals with that mandate that they had to force you to either have insurance or pay a penalty if you didn't. That's unconstitutional. Mm-hmm. Now, I guess the Supreme Court just got a hold of it. And even though they decided that that part was unconstitutional, they did decide that the rest of the ACA was not. Now, listen, I'm all for people being covered and having insurance, you know, but I also think that the best way to do it is private, you know, private investments. So private insurance, if you make it to where you know, individuals can go out of state and buy from different states and make it more competitive, it's going to drive pricing down. Mm-hmm. And you know as well as I do, you know, competitiveness is what drives, you know, business.
Right.
You know, when you have one place where you go, you know, look, we've all been to the DMV, right? Do you want your healthcare to be like that?
Unfortunately. Well, the DMV shuffle, man. It takes so.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's like crazy.
Exactly. And so, listen, you know, I'm all for people being covered. I just think that they need to come up with a better way and do it through private insurance and maybe, you know, some type of charitable, you know, charities that could get involved to help people, lower income individuals or individuals that can't work or disabled or something like that. Yeah, we got to have something for them. I get that. But I don't think that every single person needs to be, you know, on state-run insurance. I just don't. I don't.
Good enough. So what about another quick topic I want to run through here because, you know, I'm hearing different sides and this is kind of a touchy subject. So I don't want anyone to, you know, don't kill the messenger here, guys. But undocumented immigrants, you know, as far as Trump, you know, with the wall, you know, and then Biden with 11 million, you know, to give citizenship to. What's your thoughts on that? What do you think is going to happen?
So listen, once again, I have nothing against anybody trying to, you know, go after a better life, you know, seek out a better life. I get it, you know, and you know, if I was in the same position, I'm sure I would feel the same way. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you know, we have to think about the citizens of this country. There's a lot of lower income, low skilled individuals in this country that need help and need jobs. And I think we need to concentrate on the individuals that are in this country before we worry about spending our resources and helping others. You know, look, it's not our fault that Mexico's government treats their citizens the way that they do and, you know, takes all the money. I mean, they're corrupt down there. You know, and I know that, you know, it sucks for those people, but it's at the same time, man, we've got our own problems too. Just because, you know, we're a country connected to theirs doesn't mean we're supposed to take up all the people that want to come across the border because they can't seem to get it going on down there.
We definitely got some.
You know, as far as I was going to say, as far as the wall is concerned, I think he's right to build that wall because it's going to keep the drugs and the traffickers out. You know, the human traffickers and the drug traffickers. It makes it a lot harder for them. You know, if you got a space this big for them to go through instead of a space this big, mm-hmm. Think about how much easier Border Patrol's job is going to be.
Well, Trump surely got some slack for separating those families. I was watching the debates and everything, and you know that's a real sad thing. It's a real touchy subject. There's no doubt about it. But you know, I'm definitely hearing your side of it, and we'll leave it at that.
Well, here's the thing, buddy. if you or I were to get pulled over for a DUI, you got your kid in the back seat of the car. You're getting separated from your child. You're going to jail, and your kid's going to be separated from you. They're breaking the law. Now, I understand it's immigration and they're just trying to come across the border. They're still breaking the law. Do it the right way. Apply for asylum through the port of entry like you're supposed to. Okay, we have these laws in place for a reason. We can't just have a free-for-all running across our border. That's just not happening. That's not right. Mm-hmm. And it's not fair to the United States citizens. It drives down wages. You know what I mean? And why do they get special treatment, but us U.S. citizens that are born here, we don't? We're not getting the same treatment. It's almost like they want to give them free health care, and they want to give them all, they want to give them welfare and all these benefits, college education and stuff. They're incentivizing people to come here illegally. I think that's wrong. And I think Donald Trump was doing the right thing. And, to be an American citizen is something that we need to, not take for granted. You know what I mean? It's something you have to earn if you want to be in this country. That's why this is the greatest country in the world and everybody wants to come here. It's not because it sucks.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, it could suck, with things going the wrong way. But one thing, I'm over here. Obviously, I'm in Malibu, California, and you're out in Oregon. So we definitely see different things. And what's great is on part 2 of this, on Hard Left, we're going to be speaking with someone that's actually in Ireland. So we're going to get their viewpoint, and they're watching something totally different, right? They're watching something else unfold, both in their country, but also their viewpoint. So I can't wait for part 2. So make sure that if you're watching this and you're into it, make sure you do watch part 2. What about this climate change situation? They say 6 out of 10 Americans are saying that climate change is real, and 70% are experiencing it living near the coast. And I can tell you, man, the weather is super funky out here. But what's your point about the climate change? Do you think it's a hoax, or do you think it's real?
No, I mean, listen, I would be a fool if I was to say that human beings don't have some type of impact on the environment. I mean, obviously, we're spitting CO2 into the atmosphere. What I noticed, what really made me realize that I feel like we are definitely doing something, contributing to it, is when this pandemic hit and I watched all these, they shut down all the streets and nobody was driving anymore for a little while there. It seemed like the weather went back to like when we were kids.
Right.
It was weird. You know what I mean? Like it just felt like it felt different. And so that tells me that I'm sure I don't think it's the effect quite like they're saying, but there is definitely some type of impact that we're making. I don't think we need to go all in on the Green New Deal and retrofit American buildings and completely cut out fossil fuels. I think we need to gradually get into it, but we definitely need to, move forward and transition to, a greener future with less emissions. You know what I mean? I mean, I think that does need to happen. I'm probably a little more left of center when it does come to the environment. I love the environment, and I like nature, and I think we need to protect it. I love to enjoy, the outdoors and stuff. And so I'm all for protecting that, but at the same time, man, business still needs to go on.
Yeah, and I imagine it is much different in different areas around the nation and in other countries too. If you're around big, tall buildings, like, I lived in New York City for a period of time, and I totally get it, But being out here by the beach or where you're at, in Oregon, it's absolutely beautiful. So you definitely, are in that moment where you want to protect it. I get that.
Yeah.
So what about the criminal justice reform? There's all kinds of stuff. They want to end cashless bail. We're talking about hiring more law enforcement is Trump's view, increase the penalty for law enforcement assaults. And then you got the Biden side, right, which they want to end the death sentence, stop solitary confinement, and not letting the Fed actually use these prisons for private holds. I mean, what's your viewpoint on all this criminal justice reform?
So I think that Donald Trump was on the right path. Right before the pandemic, they passed criminal justice reform, which was, unprecedented. I mean, that's really going to help with recidivism and, with these individuals. So they're starting to focus more on reform as opposed to just housing these individuals. You know what I mean? Because right now what you have is you just have a revolving door. These guys go in, they house them. They're not doing anything to try and rehabilitate them. They just sit in there and think about being better criminals. What are they going to do next, when they get out next time to be a better criminal? They're not being held accountable other than having their freedom taken away. And obviously that's not getting the job done. I think personally, they need to transform prisons into rehabilitation centers where these gentlemen got to go in there and they are forced to participate and wake up in the morning, excuse me, you have a job to do, you have to participate and actually get some accountability going and get some kind of structure going for these guys. Because think about it. What are they used to doing? Hanging out on the street and selling drugs or doing drugs or doing what they're doing. No accountability, no type of structure, nothing. They need structure. And the ones that don't want to participate, well, then go sit in solitary confinement, because I guarantee you, they're going to want to participate rather than sit in solitary confinement. So yeah, we definitely need to get radical as far as criminal justice reform and reforming these people. But at the same time, I think if you start to go too far left, you start to go too far south, the individuals are just going to take advantage of that. I mean, these are like, there's guys out there licking their chops at some of these laws that are being passed. I mean, for instance, right now here in Oregon, it just passed on the ballot. They snuck it by us. They said they wanted to do more criminal justice reform and try and do programs for drug addicts and stuff like that. Well, at the same time, they decriminalized heroin, methamphetamine, and cocaine. So now these guys just got a free pass to go downtown and do all the drugs they want. And if they get caught with some, it's $100 fine.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I think that went too far.
Yeah,
I think that went too far, and I think all you're doing is incentivizing drug use and drug dealers at that point.
And the next topic here, I know that we're moving right along. The topic I want to address is taxes. A lot of people, are saying, "Well, should I even stay in business?" People are running out of California. They're trying to bail California as fast as possible. Biden out there, 28% tax rate, wants to hike it up. And some call Biden a puppet. I mean, that's I know it's a sensitive topic for people, but it's a fact. I want you to elaborate on that. What do you think? Do you think Biden's a puppet? Do you think there's other people running him, or do you think he's actually competent to run the United States of America?
No, I don't think Joe Biden is competent. I think he is a 35-year politician that's gotten rich off of selling out his seat in office. Obviously, the guy is completely and totally compromised by foreign nations. You've seen some of the stuff that his son's gotten involved in. You've seen some of the stuff going around on the internet. His son's smoking crack with hookers in hotel rooms and, hanging out in China and other countries, getting on that board in Burisma. They got that DA fired out there in the Ukraine that was investigating his son for being on that board, getting money for nothing. I mean, that he's selling influence at that point. I mean, the guy is completely compromised, in my opinion. I think he's a national security threat. And in fact, I think if this goes through and somehow they steal this election, just like they've done in Venezuela, we'll get into that another time. I think we're totally screwed, man. And you're going to see the United States go down big time. And, individuals that have quite a bit of money and wealth, they're going to be okay. You know what I mean? But it's the middle class, that's really going to suffer hard. And I think that's, the Democrats claim to be a champion for the middle class when in fact, Donald Trump has become the champion of the working class. And he's proven it by giving us a better economy, improving wages. So yeah, I think it's going to be really hard for me to accept the Biden-Harris administration. If that does happen, pray that we hold on to the Senate, because if we lose the Senate in that runoff in Georgia, there's 2 seats right now that they're battling for. If the Democrats take full control, House, Senate, and the executive branch, it's game over, man. They're going to unwind a lot of the things that Trump has done. And they're going to raise taxes, of course. I mean, it's just going to be basically where you live is the model for the rest of the country. And what's going on right now? People are leaving in droves because they can't live there.
Hey, man,
they can't live there. It's too expensive.
Joe, it's really tough here in Cali. And that brings me to the next thing. So these right here, right? This thing right here, the masks, the COVID-19. Obviously, I have my political mask here because we're talking light politics and, political views for an uncertain economy. So what's your thought on this deal? Trump wants to push a vaccine overnight, and Biden wants to do full-blown lockdown. And we're already locked down out here in California anyway, man. And it's like, there's restaurants in parking lots right now, and 6 feet distancing. You got to wear one of these. When you sit down, you can take it off. Which, what's your thought on the whole COVID-19 thing?
Listen, I'm not going to downplay it. It's obviously a novel virus, but we do have a vaccine. Trump's been trying to push it. If you notice, the Democrats are constantly trying to slow play it. They've been trying to slow play it the whole way through so they can hold on to it and then lock us back down. I don't know what this thing is with these lockdowns and these masks, but you don't use a chain link fence to stop mosquitoes. Why are you going to use a mask to stop a virus? I mean, it's already been proven that they don't work like that. It's BS. It's political theater, in my opinion. And they're just trying to scare us into this thing. They're trying to scare us into submission. And Donald Trump is like, hey, look, if you're susceptible, wear a mask. You know what I mean? Stay at home. It's up to you. But if you don't want to, it's your body. It's your choice. And they're worried about like us spreading it and all this stuff. Look, if you look at the real actual CDC numbers that were released when they had to release the real numbers, I think 12 or 13,000 people died from COVID-19 alone. Somebody can't die in a car accident just because they had COVID-19 and you chalk it up to COVID-19. Sorry, it don't work that way. That to me is false, and they're pushing a false narrative right there, trying to scare us into believing it's something more serious than it actually is.
And that's not one of the topics that I originally wanted to discuss, because I know it could be a long-winded topic, so we'll keep it short and sweet. Do you think that the media is controlling to the point where, when it comes down to this voter fraud, do you think they're actually going to see these videos? And actually, I'm gonna just pause here for 1 second and show you 2 quick videos. Okay. And the 2 videos that were going to be shown here, Joe. One, it seems that there are 2 people. I'm not sure if you watched that prior to, but 2 people sorting ballots in a basement, and the poll watchers were videoing them. They disclosed that they are a poll watcher, but yet all these ballots were brought down into a basement, and they were sorting through the ballots and putting them in 2 different categories. And I'm not sure if they were disposing of some of those ballots or not. But then also in Georgia, a man was sorting through ballots, and this video it's viral, and then starts like crumpling up and throwing away what appears to be selected votes. I'm not saying that they were Trump votes or Biden votes. I'm not sure what they were, but he was using the finger and flicking off the ballot, and crimpling it up and throwing it on the ground. And it didn't look too good. Have you seen that? Do you have any opinion in regards to voter fraud? Would you think it's real, or do you think it's something that's not real?
No, absolutely. I think it's 100% real. And sure, there were people that were doing things like that, probably taking votes for Donald Trump, tossing them in the trash, whatever. The part that I'm really concerned about is that Dominion software that was used in those voting machines.
Yeah.
Now, if you follow the money, Nancy Pelosi's husband, Dianne Feinstein, there's a few other individuals on the Democrat side that actually own stock in that company. These are the same machines and software that were used by socialist dictators like Hugo Chavez to maintain elections down in Venezuela. Look, nobody wants a socialist in power, okay? They got to cheat to get into power. And that's exactly what's going on right now. And they might have a lot of people on the take involved, but I promise you, when this is all over, I strongly believe Donald Trump will be declared the winner.
Interesting. Well, we're going to hold it at that. I appreciate you being here on Wealth by Design. This is a spinoff. Typically we talk to entrepreneurs on building wealth. I think this is very important, and it's all about, can we actually build wealth by design in a time like this, and getting different political views from people in different parts of the country, and seeing what's going on with this uncertain economy is very, very important. And I value your opinions, Joe, and I'm sure everybody else does too. So we'll stay tuned for the comments, and we'll possibly address that later. But I appreciate you being here. Thanks again. And guys, Thanks for attending Wealth by Design. All right. Take care. Wait for
Thanks for
part two.
having me.
We're going hard left on part two. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
All right.